The Young and the Restless update for Monday, July 14th reveals that a mystery culprit will kill Damian Kane after Lily Winters declares her new couple status. Things are about to get wild in Nice, so let's discuss what's ahead on Y&R. On the train, Billy Abbott will fish to find out what Phyllis Summers has learned about Kane Ashby's plans. However, Phyllis will push Billy's buttons by pointing out Kane's the one with all the money and power. There'll be no reason for Phyllis to offer up any real info to Billy, so she'll leave him in the dark. Next, Nick Newman and Sharon Newman will try to convince Phyllis that aligning with Kane is a bad idea. When Kane goes down, Nick won't want Phyllis going down too. Meanwhile, Kane and Amanda Sinclair's meeting will get derailed once Lily and Damian pop up to flirt in front of them. When Kane asks if Damian and Lily are a couple now, Lily will ultimately confirm that they are. Kane will give Lily his word that he won't speak of his feelings for her again, though he'll regret that this trip helped move Lily and Damian's romance along. After Kane asks Damian to speak with him privately, Lily and Amanda will have a private conversation of their own. Amanda will be suspicious of Lily's motives when it comes to dating Damian, and will wonder if this is about convincing Kane to move on. Lily will seek updates on Kane's true agenda, but Amanda will have faith in her boss and rush to his defense. Later, Nick will head for the cocktail area of the maze, while Sharon realizes she forgot something and goes back to the train on her own. Nick will also voice his distrust of Kane to Amanda and question why she's so quick to defend Kane. In one of the courtyards, Kane will open a bottle of something pricey and pour himself a glass, along with a glass for Damian. Although Damian will drink quickly, Kane will pace himself a bit more. Kane will vow to truly back off Lily if that's what she wants, but he'll warn Damian not to hurt her and blow his chance. After Damian begins to feel ill, he'll sit down on a bench. Damian will ask if Kane's poisoning him because of Lily, but Kane will mention that they're both drinking from the same bottle. However, it won't be long until Kane begins to feel unsteady as well. Once they're both woozy, Kane will realize something strange is going on and will want to return to the other partygoers. Unfortunately, Damian and Kane won't have the opportunity since someone will emerge from the shadows armed with a knife. A gloved mystery character will throw that knife into Damian's back, so Kane will reel as Damian stumbles into his arms and goes limp. After Phyllis runs into Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins Abbott, while they're all lost in the maze again, she'll find her way out and make a horrific discovery. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Phyllis will come strutting around the corner and spot Kane holding bleeding Damian, so her eyes will go wide over this shocking news. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. As backslaps were being given right and left in the wake of this year's Daytime Emmy nominations being announced, Young and Restless leading man Joshua Morrow threw his support wholeheartedly behind castmate Michael Gressier, but in perhaps the funniest way possible. In an Instagram story that the outstanding supporting actor contender shared, Gressier recounts that he'd just learned that he'd gotten a nod. "Was it for biggest D-bag?" asks Morrow, tongue firmly in cheek. "It was, actually," replies Gressier, clearly in on the joke. "I didn't realize that you knew that I had submitted myself in that category." How fast can we get these two a sitcom to call their own? "I hope you win one of them and lose the other," Morrow goes on. In fact, we can't help but think that Gressier has a great chance of winning Outstanding Supporting Actor. He's the only nominee who is still on his show. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Carter could be behind Damian Kane's death. Did Kane Ashby's assistant go rogue to eliminate his boss's competition for Lily Winters? From the get-go, Carter has been presented as the epitome of a loyal employee who goes above and beyond. In addition to carrying out every order, Carter seems to anticipate Kane's needs before he even asks. Maybe that's why drugged Damian will get a knife to the back in Y&R's July 14th episode. Carter may have decided to get rid of Lily's new love interest and clear the path for Kane's reunion with her. One of Kane's goals is getting back together with Lily, so Carter may be willing to do whatever it takes to make that happen. That could include resorting to murder if Carter is indeed to blame for Damian's death. Carter may make a mess for Kane in the process, since his boss will end up facing criminal accusations. However, that might be part of Carter's plan if he anticipates that Lily will believe in Kane's innocence and defend him. Carter might think it'll lead to Lily reconnecting with Kane as a result. Plus, Carter might tell himself that he'll confess if Kane's genuinely in danger of going to prison. Coming clean could be Carter's last resort if Kane's name isn't cleared. In the meantime, Carter might eventually frame someone else to take the heat off Kane as well as himself. That could add to the complications of this whodunit, which Chance Chancellor will take the lead on investigating. Carter is a throwaway character who won't be around for long anyway, so he's the ideal person to use in situations like this. It may ultimately be revealed that Carter targeted Damian without his boss's knowledge, so stick with us for updates on this creepy assistant's full agenda. The Young and the Restless spoilers say the fatal Damian news will spread and bring some grilling sessions for now. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Nate Hastings and Amy Lewis will face some horror over Damian Kane's fatal twist. Audra Charles may be the one to break the crushing news, so let's talk about what's in store. In Nice, someone will put on a pair of gloves, grab a knife, and sneak up on Damian while he's with Kane Ashby. After Kane and Damian seemingly consume some drugged booze, this person will come up behind them and throw the knife into Damian's back. Unfortunately, Damian won't survive this terrible injury. Y&R is killing off the character, so it won't be long until Chance Chancellor begins a murder investigation. Of course, this is the last thing Audra expected when she scored a spot on this trip. Audra had no clue that things would take such a dangerous turn, so she'll reel when she realizes Damian is deceased. Once Audra wraps her head around this awful shocker, she may be the one to give Nate updates on Damian's grim fate. Audra might decide it'd be better for Nate to hear it from her, either over the phone once cell service is restored, or in person once she's back home. Nate has gotten to know Damian in recent months, and was really starting to form a bond with his half-brother. You can bet Nate's going to deal with a flood of difficult emotions once he learns Damian is gone. Nate will feel especially terrible for Amy since she's been in treatment and fighting so hard for more time with her son. Amy was hoping to make up for all the time they lost when they were estranged, but she'll never get that chance with Damian now. Audra may be the one to deliver this Damian curveball to Amy too, or maybe she'll let Nate take the lead on that instead. Either way, Amy will be devastated and suddenly realize why she felt a chill down her spine when she said goodbye to Damian ahead of his flight. It's clear that Amy somehow sensed that Damian was a goner, but that won't make it any easier once she hears about this fatal stabbing. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Nate and Amy will want answers as well as justice, so stay tuned for all their questions and concerns. The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that the show's latest twist has fans asking, who killed Damian Kane? Y&R has a big mystery to solve, so let's talk about what's in store. In the July 14th episode, Kane Ashby will ask Damian to join him for a drink, and will pour a glass for himself from the same bottle. Damian will seemingly start feeling some drugging effects first, but Kane won't be far behind when it comes to feeling the same wooziness. Meanwhile, someone mysterious will hide nearby before hurling a knife at Damian's back. The result will be Damian's demise, so CBS Soap will kick off the whodunit that's been promised. Of course, this sudden death raises the question that everyone's going to be asking, both on social media and on the show itself. Y&R fans will be wondering who's behind Damian's grim fate, right along with the guests on Kane's estate. Kane will land in hot water over Damian's demise, since he'll look like a jealous ex who went off the rails. However, Kane will seem genuinely shocked when this whole knife incident happens. This isn't something that Kane will see coming at all. Furthermore, if Kane were going to wipe Damian off the map, he'd surely be a lot more discreet about it. If Kane was smart enough to hide his true identity and build an empire as Aristotle Dumas all these years, he could surely handle getting rid of someone in a more inconspicuous way. That said, Kane's assistant, Carter, could be to blame in some misguided attempt to eliminate the competition for his boss. We won't be surprised if Carter is the one who took matters into his own hands without Kane's knowledge. It's possible Y&R could deliver a real shocker and have someone else be the culprit, but most of the partygoers are good people at their core. It's hard to imagine any key players going after Damian, especially since it might result in them getting written off the show. There's no real motive for any of Kane's guests to target Damian, so that's something to keep in mind. It's also a 3-hour hike up the mountain, so that limits things when it comes to who has access to the property right now. Carter is a disposable character and makes the most sense as the culprit, but we'll see how it all plays out. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for the next 2 weeks, July 14th to July 25th, reveal that Audra Charles and Kyle Abbott may keep a horrible secret while Kane Ashby makes a plea to Lily Winters and the Damian Kane case heats up. During the week of July 14th-18th, Damian's murder will take center stage as the drama heats up in Nice. Phyllis Summers will find Kane holding Damian's bloody body after the stabber strikes, so she'll have to decide what to believe. Of course, it may not matter how Phyllis feels about the situation, since she's pledged her loyalty. Phyllis may stick to that promise and help Kane try to beat the accusations that are headed his way. Kane seems poised to become the prime suspect in this case, but he'll rush to his own defense, and Amanda Sinclair should step up to help with that as his lawyer. As for Lily Winters, she may not know what to believe when it comes to Kane and what he's capable of these days. Lily won't want to think Kane could take Damian out like this, but she may still offer up some info that makes him look bad. Since Lily will tell Kane she's a couple with Damian shortly before this murder plays out, that's something she may feel the need to disclose that to Chance Chancellor as he investigates. Devin Winters will make some connections and presumably hold Kane responsible for this, but Kane will stand by his innocence. After Nick makes a stunning discovery, he may become even more concerned about Phyllis's alliance with Kane and the trouble he could drag her into. Y&R spoilers say Sharon Newman will ultimately make herself useful and step up for Nick, so stay tuned for updates on any plans they might form. Speaking of plans, Audra is about to lose control of her own scheme. Although Audra has been flirting hard with Kyle, she's always been adamant that she wouldn't let true passion erupt with him. However, Audra and Kyle seem poised to finally surrender to temptation, since they'll both cross over into territory that takes them too far. Next, Jack Abbott will force Billy Abbott to face a harsh reality. A tough lesson is coming up for Billy, so Jack may pull his Abbott Communications investment and potentially make a power play to yank the company away. The week of July 21st to 25 will bring some backlash for Jack, who's sure to deal with Billy's wrath, and perhaps Sally Spectra's too. If cell service is finally restored, Kyle may finally be able to contact Claire Newman and hear that Cole Howard didn't make it. That's the kind of thing that could make Kyle feel even guiltier about letting passion erupt with Audra. Audra will also worry about how the deadly Damian news is going to affect Nate Hastings and Amy Lewis. The last thing Audra would want to do is make things worse at a time like this. Plus, Audra genuinely cares about Nate and wants to keep their future intact, so she might reach an agreement with Kyle to keep their forbidden passion under wraps. Victor Newman has been pressuring Audra to break Claire's heart, but even he could back off the idea, at least temporarily, while Claire is grieving the loss of Cole. The Damian investigation will continue as well, so Kane may corner Lily and beg her to believe he's an innocent man. This could be the start of Lily and Kane reconnecting if she decides he's telling the truth. As for Carter, it'll be interesting to see if he turns out to be the real killer in the end. Carter would do absolutely anything to ensure his boss's happiness, so that might include stabbing Damian to cut his romance with Lily short. Who will be the first to escape? This is the trip that will never end. At first, it was exciting to see a different location on The Young and the Restless, but we're just getting as restless as the characters themselves. Seems like there's a slow burn return to Genoa City in the future for these characters. Our favorites are currently trapped at Kane's French estate. Kane orchestrated this moment so he could acquire their companies. It appears to be either a form of revenge or a strategic business move. Kane's plans involve keeping his guests isolated from the outside world, so they don't know what he's up to. They lack cell phone service, Wi-Fi, and other means of communication, so they have no idea what's happening in Genoa City. Kane's guests also have no idea that he made a brief pit stop in Genoa City, where he kept a close eye on their businesses. He's using this situation to advance his agenda. However, it might not work in his favor. This trip might seem glamorous, but the amenities are far from it. Most of his guests are stuck on the train. The railroad and the hills have been wiped out. Kane made sure that his guests couldn't escape, even though a helicopter could easily whisk them away. But the Y&R spoilers tease that someone will show up at the estate in an attempt to kill Kane or one of his guests. They'll have no choice but to escape. Who will be able to save them? Adam proved to the Newman family that he's not completely useless. He arrived at the French estate, found a way to get there, and got out. It's possible that he could return to save his family and everyone else who's been hunkered down. There have been numerous theories online. Some Y&R fans believe that Victoria and Claire will arrive at the French estate to see what's going on. Claire will see her boyfriend Kyle getting a little too close to Audra. Meanwhile, Victoria will get to the bottom of Kane's plans. Maybe she will finally go back to her girl boss ways. J. Eddie Peck speaks out on the end of Cole on Y&R. Cole Howard recently died on The Young and the Restless. Now, his portrayer, J. Eddie Peck, has shared a poignant video he'd promised fans where he talked about Cole's death, what portraying Cole has meant for him, and where he hopes to go from here. Originally, Peck returned to Y&R when Cole appeared in the storyline where Jordan and Claire kidnapped the Newmans. He and Victoria learned the shocking news that Claire was their previously believed dead daughter, Eve. Victoria and Cole's relationship deepened as the trio began to become a family again. Josh Griffith, our executive producer, head writer, called me up a couple of nights before my last day, and he said, "Hey, J. Eddie, you probably know where this cold is going." However, Peck hadn't realized it would mean Cole's demise. Well, in fact, I really didn't know where it was going. I was thinking Cole was going to get sick, and the cough was bad, and he was going to go back to the house with Victoria, and she would nurse him back to health, and it's going to deepen the relationship. He noted that the show originally only planned to have him back as Cole for a couple of days, but because they liked the dynamic between Victoria, Cole, and Claire, they continued to write story for the character. Peck said that he'd enjoyed returning as Cole and getting to explore the character again. "I'm very appreciative for it again. As for what's next, Peck hopes it might be another soap opera." "I'm hoping I'm going to go to another daytime show," he revealed. "Because I love daytime. I love the daytime roles. It's hard for us actors to find deep roles. You know, there's all kinds of things that you can play, and people my age can play all kinds of roles, you know? But what I like to play a deep, caring, vulnerable, yet strong human being. You know, those are the kind of roles I'm attracted to." In addition to another daytime role, Peck might start a YouTube channel. In the end, he thanked his fans for their support and praised the cast and crew of Y&R for making his time at the soap so nice. The gambler had a bout of shiny object syndrome. This week's messiest move goes to Billy on The Young and the Restless. He revealed his plans to step down from Abbott Communications. Billy will have Sally take over. However, he could end up with a bigger mess on his hands. Billy isn't gambling these days, thankfully, but he might as well be, because he's already gambling his finances away. He's ventured to the dark side once he wound up at Kane's French estate. There must be something in the air there, because everyone's making the wrong choices. After a few conversations with Kane, Billy decided to step down from his position at Abbott Communications. He's chasing the next shiny object in his life. This impulsive move has everyone scratching their heads. Jack wonders what is going to happen to Abbott Communications. Billy assures him that Sally will take over for him. This is messy because Billy is not thinking about anyone else but himself. He's going back to his selfish ways. All he has on his mind is power and money. This isn't going to bode well for his relationship with his family and Sally. Jack is furious that Sally will be taking over Abbott Communications. He also can't believe that his brother would abandon ship like that. Clearly, he doesn't know his brother that well, because Billy always did what Billy wanted to do. This is the reason why his mother, Jill, cut him off. She fired him from Abbott Chancellor because of his questionable decisions. He has no regard for anyone else. This could spell the demise of Abbott Communications. Could Sally run the ship? Or is it going to prove to be impossible for her? After all, her first love is design. What is she going to do to save Billy's company? Someone could backstab Billy and take over Abbott Communications while he's not looking. Maybe someone like Jack or Kane. The Young and the Restless spoilers tease that Sally Spectra is about to have the shock of her life. Billy Abbott promised to keep Abbott Communications safe from the chopping block. However, Jack Abbott is growing tired of Billy's games and cuts the funding for Abbott Communications. Billy tries to talk Jack out of cutting the funding. He pleads with his brother, knowing that if AC is cut, he could lose Sally. She has made it clear to him if he puts her in a situation where she loses her job, she will walk away. The Young and the Restless spoilers state that Jack is growing tired of Billy's irresponsible behavior. Now that he's personally invested in Abbott Communications, he has an interest in the company. He cannot watch Billy focus on the wrong things, leaving the company to suffer. Jack delivers the news that he will be cutting the funding. He knows this could sink the company, but believes it is the right decision considering how driven Billy is to work with Kane Ashby. Billy tries to convince Jack to reconsider. He offers him a deal and begs Jack to give him some time, and he'll get things on track. Jack refuses to hear it. He is cutting funding, and that's it. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Billy informs Sally that Jack cut their funding. She is floored by the news, asking him how he could let this happen. He promised her that he had it under control, and Kane wouldn't affect Abbott Communications. She feels lied to and used. After thinking about Abbott Communications and how Billy's behavior caused the collapse, she becomes angrier with him. She doesn't know how much more she can take. Billy seems to be great at disappointing her and leaving her to pick up the pieces. The Young and the Restless spoilers state that Sally decides to end things with Billy. She cannot allow herself to be with someone who will constantly let her down and let his quest for revenge affect her wallet. After Sally dumps Billy, he becomes more determined than ever to make a deal with Kane. Without Sally and Abbott Communications, Billy has nothing left. Will Kane take a risk and make a deal with Billy to get closer to Jabot? When I Do meets Oh No. Danny got down on one knee, and Christine said yes with that bright, heart-melting smile Young and the Restless fans have been dreaming about for ages. Finally, this reunited couple is ready to seal their love with a wedding everyone will want to attend. The venue will be filled with happy faces, champagne toasts, and maybe a few happy tears. It's the kind of moment soap opera dreams are made of, until someone crashes the party. We all know Genoa City never keeps it simple. While many fans are already pointing fingers at Phyllis as the inevitable wedding crasher, we think the real chaos will come from a far more unexpected direction, one of Christine's past flames, someone she promised her heart to forever, Paul. Oh yes, Christine's much-missed fan-fave ex might just crash the nuptials with a bombshell move to win her back. Just picture the scene. The wedding is in full swing, the vows are about to be exchanged, and suddenly the doors swing open. Paul strides in, confident and smoldering, ready to remind Christine of all they had. The shockwaves will ripple through the crowd, jaws will drop, and all eyes will turn to the man threatening to turn this fairy tale into a full-blown soap opera meltdown. Sure, Danny has earned his spot by fighting tooth and nail for Christine's heart, but Paul's history with her is a loaded cannon ready to explode. It's the classic love triangle, but with a spicy twist that only this show can deliver. Will Christine's heart waver? Will Danny stand his ground? Or will the wedding turn into a battlefield of emotions and old flames? And don't forget the other characters lurking on the sidelines. A mischievous Phyllis might not want to miss the chance to stir up trouble, but the spotlight is all on Paul this time. His arrival could be the ultimate curveball that throws the perfect wedding into utter chaos. No matter what happens, one thing's for sure. This wedding won't be a quiet affair. It'll be packed with suspense, surprises, and steamy showdowns that fans live for. If Danny and Christine want to say I do without a hitch, they'll have to be ready for more than just vows. They'll need to be ready for the ultimate showdown. Here are the Young and the Restless spoilers for next week. Chance is back, and he's got something to prove. Here's a look ahead at the episodes we'll see from Monday, July 14th to Friday, July 18th, 2025. Next week on The Young and the Restless, it seems there is a murder mystery to be solved. Luckily, Kane invited Chance for this very reason. Of course, when Kane thought he was going to be the murder victim, but has seemingly survived. However, he's now a suspect. We're not clear who gets killed, but what we do know is that Kane hasn't been happy that Damian and Lily were getting closer. So close that she invited him to stay in her train car bedroom. Next week, Kane gives Damian a glass to drink of what looks like whiskey. But Damian is dubious and asks Kane, "You aren't trying to poison me because of Lily, are you? I'm drinking the same stuff you are, so unless I'm trying to take us both out." Kane replies. However, someone is watching from behind them, hiding behind one of the maze walls, and what they see is alarming. Kane puts his hand on Damian's shoulder as Damian's head falls back and his eyes roll. Kane calls out his name, but Damian seems out of it. Was he poisoned? Meanwhile, Nick is agitated with Phyllis and tells her no more stalling tactics. Phyllis knows Nick too well, though. When he insists he is fine, she tells him that she knows he is not. "What did you see?" she asks. Later in the main train car, Chance has assembled Lily, Devon, Phyllis, Nick, Kane, Amanda, and Abby. "Wait, you're calling this a murder?" Lily asks him. Chance nods in agreement as he says, "I'm afraid that's what we're looking at here, yeah. Now, I'd like to start this by talking to each one of you individually about your activities over the last hour or so." Abby realizes Chance is going to interrogate them. "So what you're basically saying, Chance, is that we're all suspects," Devon clarifies. In June, we brought our readers news that BFFs The Young and the Restless and Days of Our Lives Greg Rickhart and The Bold and the Beautiful's Rebecca Budig would be hosting a new series titled Soapy. With the debut episode released this past week, their first guest was one of daytime biggest stars, Eric Braeden. Having been on the CBS soap for over 45 years, viewers have watched Victor go through many trials and tribulations since 1980. When asked why he stayed on the soap for so long, Braeden gave credit where credit was due and stated, "Because I had a conversation with Bill Bell." Watch the video below to hear why that specific discussion kept Victor in Genoa City. And being on a soap for so long, we have to wonder if another show ever came knocking on Braden's door. Well, Budig did as well and asked the vet, "Did another soap ever try to poach you?" The actor gave a little laugh, then later the actress asked again, "Surely when you were doing contract negotiations, someone came sniffing around." Braeden acknowledged that there had been rumors here and there, then added, "But no, I don't talk about that." However, he did admit, "Once I took a trip to New York in the early years, they asked me to come to see someone in New York." To which Rickhart replied, "I'm glad you stayed." We're glad Braeden stayed with Young and Restless too. But could you imagine? A character like Victor on All My Children, One Life to Live, Loving As the World Turns, Another World, or Ryan's Hope? Yep, those were all the soaps that filmed in New York back in the day. As most of our readers know by now, the Young and the Restless Melissa Ordway was taken off contract as Abby back in November 2024. However, she returns from time to time, most recently during the whole Dumas-Kane reveal, and when she's not working on the CBS soap, she's back with her family at their Tennessee home. And when it comes to taking vacations, the actress often shares her adventures with followers, and did so yet again. But this time, she sent fans some very beautiful postcards from St. George, Maine. "Postcards from Maine," Ordway stated while posting numerous photos on her official Instagram. "A truly beautiful, magical place. No filters needed, just pure beauty." Included in the 10 photos were shots of the actress and her husband, Justin Gaston, and their daughters Olivia and Sophie, spending some time near a lighthouse during the day and at sunset. Known as the Lighthouse State, Maine has over 60 of the structures still standing on its shores. Ordway also shared some sweet shots in her Instagram stories with Gaston, as they enjoyed a treat or two at the Seafolk Coffee Shop in Rockport, one of Maine's charming coastal villages. She also posted a video of their fun and stated, "The answer to all my problems isn't an ocean in Maine, but have you seen that view?" And prior to that, she posted a bunch of other pics that gave fans a peek into their 4th of July celebrations. Star-spangled and seaside, 4th of July in Maine never misses. And just look at those festive outfits. Now that we saw how Ordway spent her holiday last weekend, Jump in the comment section to tell us what you did on yours. Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that Damian Kane could be dead. Kane Ashby is a suspect, among others, and Chance Chancellor is investigating. There are some intense new spoilers to talk about. We're going to dive into whether Kane killed his romantic rival Damian, or if somebody else did it, and who Chance is grilling as part of the murder mystery that we were promised and they're delivering on. We've got lots of good stuff for the week of July 14th on Y&R. So, by the end of this week on Young and the Restless, Kane is really losing it because he wants to be with Lily Winters. She keeps rejecting him, and then even worse, Damian, his former employee, winds up in bed with Lily. She is moving on without Kane. He doesn't stand a chance with her. He never did. But then everything's going to shift. So, after Lily kissed Damian again in front of her ex-husband Kane, that seemed to kind of break something inside of him. Lily took Damian off to her train car, slid into the sheets with him, and Kane pulled this necklace out of his shirt. And I saw some people on Soap social media asking what's the significance of the necklace he had. It's not the chain, it's what was on it. After watching Lily leave with Damian, Kane pulled out a chain, and it had his wedding band on it. They showed it for kind of a brief second, and some of the screenshots and pictures is not terribly clear, but it is distinctly a wedding band, the band he wore back when he was married to Lily. So it was kind of like Kane was just having this little moment of sorrow. And then the implication is that he completely snaps in jealousy, because then next week things take a turn. Damian and Kane run into each other in the maze. They are having a drink, and Damian asks Kane if he's trying to poison him because he's jealous about Lily. Kane reassures Damian and says, "No, we're both drinking the same stuff." And then Kane says, No, 'cause I'd be poisoning us both." Then Damian seems to have some sort of reaction to what he drank, and it looks like he's maybe losing consciousness. Kane's like, "What's going on?" At a glance, it does look like he poisoned Damian, while the two men were alone in a fit of jealousy over Lily. But there's a few things to consider. One, Damian's not really dead. This is just one of those cleverly edited promos, and, he's fine and somebody else is killed. So, two, the poison or whatever it is was meant for Kane, not for Damian. That's another thing to consider. If you remember, Kane brought Chance there because he said somebody's trying to kill him, and since Kane told Damian they were drinking the same thing, the poison, if indeed someone is poisoned right there, might have been in the glass, not in the liquid. Maybe Kane just happened to grab the non-poison glass, and Damian grabbed the one that was actually meant for Kane. Of course, if it is Damian that dies, it looks bad because he just slept with Lily, and everybody knows that Kane wants Lily back. But the fact that Kane brought Chance there because of a potential death threat calls everything into question. I do have to mention, Damian might not be dead for a couple of reasons. Now that Kane knows that the Newmans know that he left and went to Genoa City and was buying up real estate properties, and he has a minion there. And of course, Kane knows all this because Phyllis Summers told him. The Newmans know that could be the big motivation for what's turning into a murder mystery next week. So Kane might have already had this as like a plan B or a plan C in his back pocket to buy more time to keep everyone trapped there at the chateau while he's got Holden Novak doing his dirty work back in their hometown. It's not for nothing that Chance is there and that Kane brought him. It all feels like a big setup. He's supposed to be this master manipulator in all this. So, you have to think a little deeper and wonder if the Y&R writers are being, clever with these edits on the promos and things like that. So, Chance is starting up a full-blown murder investigation next week, which means nobody at the chateau can leave. So that feels pretty convenient for Kane, right? We'll see if it is or not, but that's what it feels like. What's crazy about this also is that Chance has no jurisdiction in France be investigating anything. He is a Genoa City cop. Nobody in France has to listen to him or stay there to be questioned by him. But this is what we've got. So if this is some sort of scheme by Kane to keep his unwilling guest there longer, a couple of things could happen. The promo's misleading and somebody else has died, or Damian appears to have died. But he's not dead, And it could be that Kane gave Damian something to knock him out. Has his henchman Carter and Amanda Sinclair stashed him somewhere? Maybe he is going to blackmail Damian to stay quiet and play dead. Kane might have some sort of leverage he can hold over Damian, some sketchy business thing from his past when he was Dumas. Maybe Kane has access to some special cancer treatment that would be some kind of big help to Damian's mom. Amy Lewis tells him, play dead for a week and I'll get you this experimental treatment or something. Kane's dad, Colin, was sick and died not too long ago, so Kane may have built up some medical connections. I think Damian could be talked into playing dead for a week or so, but we'll see how it goes. We'll know when the full roster of our spoilers is out next week. It would kind of suck for Lily to finally get a new man in her life and in her bed, and then he dies right after they do the deed. That'd be terrible. Also next week when Kane's with Damian, and the other man appears to have some reaction to whatever he drank, somebody is watching Kane with Damian. They're nearby. They're peeping through the bushes at the hedge maze. And again, this could be contrived. It may be Nick Newman, because next week he's having this confrontation scene with Phyllis. And Nick's telling Phyllis, "Stop with all the stall tactics." And she's asking what he saw. So maybe Nick was peeping at them. Maybe Kane wanted them to be peeped at. I mean, he's controlling everything and he has cameras everywhere. So later on, Chance gathers everybody in the train car, murder mystery style, Agatha Christie style, and Lily asks if Chance is calling this a murder, and he says, "Yeah, that's what they're looking at." But Lily, at the same time, doesn't look like she's distraught, like her new lover just died. That's why I'm kind of like, weird, So, at the back of my mind, I'm also wondering if Damian's fine, and somebody else is dead, and they just didn't show him in the promo, because in the promo, I also don't think I saw Victor Newman and some others. So, could be somebody disposable like Carter, the guy who's Kane's assistant. And again, we'll know more when we get the full roster of weekly Y&R spoilers. I like Damian. I hope he's not pushing up daisies at the chateau next week. Chance tells the assembled guest that he's going to talk to everybody privately about where they were, what they were doing over the last hour. Nick is determined to get somewhere on Y&R. Get ready for some intense moments on The Young and the Restless next week. Between Nick's determination to escape a tough situation, Sharon stepping up in a big way to help him, and Chance diving into a new investigation, Genoa City is about to heat up. Here's what you won't want to miss from July 14th to July 18th. Nick's back is against the wall, and he's not about to go down without a fight. Faced with an escalating situation in the maze, Nick begins formulating an escape plan. Nick wants to ensure he gets himself, Sharon, Nikki, and Victor safely back to Genoa City. Will his plan work, or will it only lead to more complications? Don't miss the moment when Nick sets his plan into motion. As Nick's escape plan takes shape, he stumbles upon a shocking discovery. The truth behind this revelation could have serious consequences for not just him but others in his orbit. What Nick uncovers could change the game entirely, adding another layer of drama to his already complicated situation. Does it have to do with Kane, or is it something else? Stay tuned to see what bombshell Nick uncovers next. Sharon has been a steady presence in Nick's life, and next week, she proves just how far she'll go to help him. Taking matters into her own hands, Sharon decides to take action and lend a hand in Nick's escape plan. Her determination to stand by him could lead to some risky moves. How far will she go to make sure Nick gets the help he needs? Will Sharon escape unharmed? Meanwhile, Chance is knee-deep in a new investigation that could shake things up in the maze. His pursuit of the truth will bring him face-to-face with some tough choices. Somebody is gone, and what he uncovers could have far-reaching consequences for both him and the people around him. Watch as Chance digs deeper into a crime that may be more complicated than he originally thought. These spoilers promise a week full of twists, revelations, and bold moves, and these are the ones SoapHub is most interested in seeing. Stay tuned for the drama to unfold as the week of July 14th, July 18th brings game-changing moments on Y&R. This week's Y&R video preview has Chance investigating a murder at Kane's chateau, where everyone is a suspect. July 14th to 18th will be a suspenseful week on The Young and the Restless. This week's video preview has Kane's gathering in France disrupted by a murder. Here's a sneak peek of what's ahead. Kane invites Damian for a drink and conversation. Before Damian takes a sip of his liquor, he asks if Kane's trying to poison him because of Lily. Kane says they're drinking the same stuff, so it's unlikely he'd take them both out. As the two men sit down to talk, a mysterious figure watches as Damian passes out. Nick bumps into Phyllis, who immediately begins inquiring about his whereabouts. And antsy Nick doesn't have time for Phyllis's tactics and insists he's fine. Phyllis knows he's not telling the truth and demands to know what he saw. Did Nick see something that he shouldn't have? If so, will he confide in Phyllis? Later, Chance gathers all the guests on the train to tell them about his investigation. When Lily asks if he's calling this a murder, he says this is what it's looking like. Chance says he'd like to talk to everyone individually about their activities within the last hour. Lily, Phyllis, Abby, and many other guests look uncomfortable at the mention of an interrogation. So basically, what you're saying is we're all suspects, an irate Devon replies. With a murder investigation underway, it looks like the guests are going to be leaving France anytime soon. Will Damian be the one to die? Or will another unfortunate victim suffer a tragic fate? Plus, is one of the guests the murderer? Or is there another threat roaming around the chateau? The drama and mystery are unfolding in France. Check out more from this week's Y&R preview.